Hello everyone and welcome back to Cities by Steven. You're talking to Steven. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, please hit the subscribe button, get the bell notification on so you don't miss out on the next episode of City Skylines, and make sure to hit the like button. The like button helps the channel a lot. Welcome to the county of Brockton, or Brockton County. This is an Ontario-themed map set on the shores of Lake Ontario and a build which will be inspired by towns and cities all around Lake Ontario. This Canadian-themed city is the third one in our series across Canada. We started in the East Coast and we're heading west. I guess this one's a bit south from the other one, but this map is an infrastructure-heavy map that I have built myself and have pretty much just completed, and now I'm recording it as a map preview to our new series, Brockton County, where we will build an Ontario-themed city. And I think this is going to be a pretty heavily built-up city. It's a very builder-friendly map, and we're going to kind of do a Vanilla Plus type series, so not many mods, but some essential mods, just like that cinematic camera that we began with. Let's just continue talking, and I'm going to throw in some more cinematics. This map is set on the northern shore, or I guess northwestern shore, of Lake Ontario, and I kind of picked out a couple spots that I was really kind of going after on the theme, and that was pretty much around the town and shores of various cities across Ontario. Particularly, I was inspired by the Kingston region, as well as Port Hope was a big draw for this city. But in order to kind of make this a more Ontario-themed map, I took elements from various parts of Ontario, and I'm including them on this map, or sorry, not all of Ontario, because Ontario is a very big province, the shores of Lake Ontario. This intersection, for example, is inspired by an intersection off the 401 in the region we're talking about. So if you're looking on a map, it's the region that we're kind of discussing, where I would say this map is themed, is anywhere between Oshawa and Kingston, off the 401. And the way this series is going to be built is it has some national roads that go north and south, and even east and west across the map, and it has the main highway that goes through it as well. There's also a lot of rail corridors, which are going to make for some very fun industry builds, and it's a very train-friendly map as well. So we're going to get some regional rail in here as well, which is going to be a lot of fun to do. And needless to say, guys, I'm very excited for this new map. One thing I want to bring up before we start on this map preview for the next build, which will begin on Monday, is that I, again, am very sorry for what happened with the last map. Thank you very much for all your comments and support. I hope you liked all the disasters that we went through with the previous city of Rivière-des-Montagnes, which was a Quebec-themed city. And I really hope that this doesn't happen again, which is always a potential concern, right? But we're going to take a lot from what we did at the previous map, and we're going to include that in this series. And, building with that previous map, there's lots of national roads through it. I really did enjoy the national roads vibe, heavier traffic, smaller road. So that's what I was kind of going for with this series. So now that we're kind of done the preamble here, let's dive into some of the specifics about the map here. All right. So I'm not going to go over the mods I'm going to use. I'm going to save that for next episode, mainly because I haven't sorted through them yet. I've pretty much just finished this, and I wanted to show you on recording. So to get a good zoom out of the map, this is kind of what we're going for. So in order to kind of hit lots of different parts of Ontario in this map, what I wanted to do was I wanted to bring some of the islands in off the shore. There aren't necessarily lots of islands in Lake Ontario, which is a bit surprising, but if you're from the Kingston area, or the Kingston area, there's lots of islands. So I was trying to pull from that a little bit. And there's also, closer to Toronto and Scarborough, there are these bluffs called the Scarborough Bluffs, and I really wanted to get that in the city as well. So I felt like this was a good opportunity and a good space to get that. in. And then we also have a bit of inspiration of cottage country, perhaps in Frontenac County or Muskoka if you're not from Eastern Ontario. So we got lots of lakes. Potentially we can build some small towns around them. Very exciting, very fun. Heavily forested area. The idea for this map was that it's a barren landscape, but has already kind of been segmented out into what can be potential cities and developments. But I've pretty much left this a blank canvas. So in a way, it's like we're taking a piece of wilderness and are transforming it, but we've already got all the infrastructure we need to develop and grow a large city and multiple supporting cities. So I'm also going to try to get the 81 tiles mod working on this map. I don't see why I can't. So hopefully, I don't want to jinx myself, but hopefully I can get that to work on this map. And then we can really start working on small towns out in cottage country, for example, because I'm pretty sure these are outside of the 25 tile radius. But one thing I really wanted to do in this series was to use the national roads, like I said. So why don't we kind of do a bit of a top-down view, and I'll show you the idea behind these roads. So this is a frontage road that we're going to kind of take. Perhaps this was the old highway through the area, and it goes pretty much along the shoreline of the entire map, which is very commonplace. There isn't a national highway that goes along the shoreline for the entirety of Lake Ontario, but there are lots of spots where that occurs. Next, let's go back to where we were. We have the 401, which is the main highway in Ontario, or I guess don't appropriate that name too much, so it's a 400 series highway. So it is just a simple 4-lane highway, but if you've driven on the 400 series highways, you'll know that in some places Highway 401 is 6 lanes, even more, and in some places it's just 4. So the idea behind this was that it's a bit of a blank canvas for our vision of the highway. And there could be different branches off. We could grow more highways, but I felt that this was a cool item to have in this city, and it works very, very well. All right, so the next highway we're going to look at is this one. So if you've driven across highways across the world, you obviously know that there's highway connections, and this particularly was inspired by Imperial Jedi and his builds. What it is, I need to help these cars out with traffic a bit, but it's a bit of a bypass for one direction. So if you want to go straight through the intersection, I will fix this because they shouldn't be stopping. The cars that want to go straight just dip down and avoid the intersection altogether, like this car. And it allows more cars to pile up turning left. It's not a very commonplace interchange you see, but it's very functional, especially if there's a heavy traffic coming from the left side. All right, so this highway will continue north, and this is our this is our first interchange on Highway 401 that we're seeing. Just a very simple, I forget the name of this interchange. It's kind of like a diamond interchange, but it's split off differently with the intersections a bit different. Like a normal diamond, these two nodes would be together. Yeah, I was looking at interchanges all across Ontario when I was doing this, and kind of tried to pick out a couple. And I'm going to save, and I will save a lot of the more complicated interchanges, like say, like maybe perhaps bigger cloverleaf interchanges, or a diverging diamond interchange, for example, or a single point interchange. As the city grows, we'll probably need them, because I purposefully left these highways pretty minimalistic in order to cause traffic early on in the game. And that's going to be fun to deal with. The 401 traffic is a real pain in the real world, so I felt like it was going to be fun to do in this map as well. But this highway goes north and meets up with another county highway at a very, very, very basic interchange, which is causing problems because I don't think there are any stop signs or anything on this interchange at the moment, but this is realistic to the type of interchange you would see in this area. Perhaps there's a light, maybe we can get that going. Perhaps it is just stop signs, but this is much busier than I was anticipating, to be honest, but it works all together. Then it swings all the way north across the more hillier parts of the map. All right, so next we have this highway, which is just a supporting highway onto itself, but it goes right through the heart of the map and connects up with this highway as well, with a similar normal basic four-way interchange, and it goes right through the mountains, or through the hill. There's not really mountains over here, and goes off into the distance. Kind of mimics the river that we have going on over here, which we will name in time. There are two rivers that converge into one and lead out into Lake Ontario. So we'll have to name the rivers. It's gonna be fun to do. There's also some small estuaries, I believe, as well as some other lakes over here as well. But let's get into what is the starting tile, at least for now. Just over here, in this section over here. Another similar interchange to what we've previously seen, and an abandoned factory. So I wanted to leave this as a blank canvas, but I wanted to leave it a bit inspired. And I know you can't really get these assets without mods. So what I wanted to do here was I wanted to place these here in the idea that you build up an industrial town, an industrial part of the city over here. So that is a bit of a hint to what we're going to be doing over here as well, which is exciting. And then let's get to the main intersection of the map, which is a very basic half clover. And the traffic is intense. This is actually based off of an interchange that is in the region we're discussing, so along the 401 in between Oshawa and Kingston. But its use is a bit different than our use. The idea here is that we built this now because we're going to be developing around it, and as the city would grow, so too would the demands of its interchange, right? Its main interchange. But we also have more space to add in, say, another or another. So we will see how that works. And again, the idea with the national roads is that they are, I'm pretty sure this is a thing everywhere, but in Ontario there are numbered roads, and they turn into, say, city avenues, for example, and they're the main roads of towns. So that's the idea behind these. So this right now is a highway, but perhaps in the future it'll just be the main arterial road of the city, and it goes north, goes over this little bridge, very cool infrastructure, and connects up at this junction, which will be very difficult to deal with, I'm already imagining, especially as more traffic gets in the city. But that's the idea, lots of traffic. There's lots of traffic in Ontario. There's even shows on the Discovery Network about traffic in Ontario along the 401 and the issues it causes. But this highway curves all the way up north around the sides of the elevated areas and follows the rail lines. We haven't discussed the rail lines yet. The rail lines in the city, there's only technically two lines. There's the north-south line, which is the one we're following. And I made sure to try and keep the grades of the railways as low as possible. And it curves right across the river here. And it connects up into this bit of a whale tail interchange, I guess. And with this, it connects to the main railroad network, which runs alongside the 401 like it does in real life, which would technically connect Toronto and Montreal in this case. And it goes over here across through cottage country. So in a way, this is an attempt to be a realistic Ontario build, but also not realistic because it includes elements from all over Ontario on this map, which is a bit of an idea and a hope that it could turn out pretty nicely. So there are lots of things we can do with this map. I'm planning on building lots of ports, lots of small towns. So a port here, for example, would be really good. because it's not hindered by the islands, or perhaps you want the islands for cover, or from protection from Lake Ontario, the waves of Lake Ontario. But yeah, this is going to be the main town area. You can kind of see it. It's pretty flat. Definitely going to be a bit difficult because of the railways right through the middle of the starting tile as well. But you know, it leads a lot to do. There is lots of fertile land everywhere, so there's no need to worry about not having a farm or anything like that. This is oil, I believe. And then the darker stuff is ore as well. So that is going to leave us lots of opportunities to get industries. And I believe there's a lot of trees. So pretty much potential to get a forestry industry pretty much anywhere on the map. So it's probably going to be over here, to be honest, close to railway. But I'm pretty excited. And if you're thinking oil in Ontario, wow. Little known fact, the discovery of industrial use for oil was actually made in southern Ontario. So, fun facts for the day, right? So, there actually is oil fields in southern Ontario, but, you know, this technically isn't south Ontario. This is more what is known as eastern Ontario, even though it's still pretty far south in the grand scheme of things. But, you know, we need oil for the map. Technically, I don't believe there will be that much oil in this area that we're setting this map on, but in a way it is similar because it is thematic because Ontario does have oil, but we do need it for the map as well. I'm pretty sure this is the only area for oil on the map. But yeah, there are some other cool things throughout this area as well. I've hidden some old farmhouses throughout the map. Let me see if I can find one. Right here. So when I was kind of picturing this map, I was thinking maybe I'd start building it up first, and then we kind of come into the town. There's already some small towns around, but I wanted to build this town fresh with you guys, and mainly because I kind of didn't have time to do that. So that's all right. We also have a cool little cave system over here. Whoa. But yeah, this turned out pretty nicely. I'm very happy with it. And let's just turn off weather here for the remainder of the map preview. But yeah, let me know what you think, and perhaps when we're done the series, I can upload it to the Steam Workshop. It's just a fun custom map. The idea was pretty much just to get as much buildable area as possible, because the last series, we were very hindered by buildable area. So I wanted to kind of do pretty much an exact opposite of that. And I'm very excited to get going on this. The topography of the map is... Oh, come on, we can't see the topography. All right, we can't see the topography. Well, it's very low, but there are elevation changes. So pretty much what I've done is there's the lake level, then there's a lower level, and then it raises up along to where the highways are, and then it gets a bit higher, some cliffs, but it's pretty flat all the way across until you get to over here, where we start getting a bit of an elevation change, and we even get a bit higher over here. But you know, normally if we were looking at this in real world Ontario, there would be so many more trees. But you know, I don't want to make my PC freak out every time I come over here because of all the all the trees. So you know, you can always add more. But the idea with these trees is just I believe when I was making the map, it wouldn't let me add any pine trees, because I'm pretty sure these are from our previous map. So unfortunately I couldn't add in a great deal of variation to the trees, but there is enough to make it interesting, and we can always add more into specific areas as well. But yeah, this is the starting tile. We're going to start here in the next episode on Monday, and we're probably going to turn this street, which will name into a specific highway. We'll make this the main street, and we will branch off of it. I kind of envision some industrial over here, perhaps some commercial along the shoreline here. Got a lot of residential in here. And you know, we have a lot of space over here. We can even start a forestry industry if we want to, but I kind of would suspect they would get that in a secondary or third tile. So yeah, without further ado, guys, I hope you have a lovely Friday and enjoy your weekend as well. And I'll catch you next time, where we will start building up the county of Brockton in the city of Batherston.